Without taking a single step, you're moving faster than a passenger jet. It sounds impossible. After all, you're probably sitting still right now. Maybe you're on your couch, at your desk, or lying in bed. Nothing around you feels like it's moving, but that's an illusion, because beneath your feet, the Earth is constantly spinning. Every 24 hours, our planet completes one full rotation. If you're standing near the equator, you're traveling at nearly 1,670 kilometers per hour. That's faster than most commercial airplanes. Yet you don't feel that incredible speed. Why? Because everything around you is moving together. The air, the oceans, the buildings, the trees, even the coffee in your cup. For billions of years, Earth has rotated with remarkable stability. This invisible motion has shaped our days, our nights, our weather, and life itself. It's so constant that we rarely stop to think about it. But what if that changed? What if, without warning, the Earth suddenly stopped spinning? Not gradually, not over millions of years, but in a single instant. Would gravity disappear? Would we be thrown into space? Would the oceans rise over the continents? Or would something even more unexpected happen? To answer those questions, we first need to understand a simple truth. Earth's rotation isn't just responsible for day and night. It's one of the invisible forces that quietly makes our planet habitable. And if that motion suddenly came to an end, the world we know would never be the same. 1 second after Earth's rotation stops, nothing appears different. There is no explosion, no giant crack racing across the surface, and gravity doesn't suddenly disappear. If you looked outside in that first instant, the world might seem almost unchanged. But appearances can be dangerously misleading, because while the planet has stopped, you haven't. Neither has the air around you, neither have the oceans. Everything on Earth's surface is still carrying the momentum of its original motion. Think about riding in a fast-moving car. When the driver slams on the brakes, your body keeps moving forward. Not because something is pushing you, but because motion doesn't simply disappear. The same law of physics applies to an entire planet. At the equator, every person, every building, every tree, and every drop of water is already moving eastward at nearly 1,670 kilometers per hour. If Earth stopped instantly, that motion would continue. The consequences would begin unfolding within seconds. The atmosphere would surge across the surface. The oceans would begin to shift. Cities would face forces they were never designed to survive. And what happens next would transform Earth into a world unlike anything humanity has ever known. At first, the ground beneath your feet remains still. Nothing seems unusual, but the sky above you is another story. When Earth suddenly stops rotating, the atmosphere doesn't stop with it. It keeps moving, just like passengers thrown forward when a speeding train suddenly slams on the brakes. The air surrounding our planet was already traveling with Earth's rotation. At the equator, that speed reaches nearly 1,670 kilometers per hour. When the ground stops, the atmosphere doesn't. It continues racing eastward. Within seconds, ordinary winds become something far beyond anything recorded in human history. Hurricane-force winds would no longer seem extraordinary. Entire weather systems would transform into walls of moving air. Buildings designed to survive powerful storms would begin to fail. Trees would be torn from the ground. Vehicles would become airborne. Anything not securely anchored could be swept away. Even mountains wouldn't completely protect the land. As these enormous air masses collide with continents around the world, the atmosphere becomes violently unstable. Dust, debris, and fragments of entire cities would be carried high into the sky. From space, Earth would still appear calm. A beautiful blue planet floating silently through the darkness. But beneath those clouds, an unimaginable battle between air and land would already be underway. And the atmosphere is only the beginning. Because while the skies are still raging, another force is already reshaping the planet: the oceans. While the atmosphere tears across the continents, another catastrophe begins almost silently: the oceans. At first, the water doesn't suddenly rise into gigantic waves. Instead, it keeps moving with the momentum Earth once had. Imagine billions of tons of water refusing to stop. Every ocean on the planet is still racing eastward, and unlike the atmosphere, water has enormous mass, which means enormous force. As that momentum collides with coastlines, the result would be unlike any tsunami in recorded history. Entire shorelines could disappear beneath walls of water. Harbors, cities, and islands could be overwhelmed within minutes. But the greatest transformation wouldn't happen immediately. It would unfold over days, months, and eventually years. Today, Earth's rotation creates a subtle outward force that causes our oceans to bulge around the equator. It's one of the reasons our planet isn't a perfect sphere. If that rotation disappeared, that bulge would slowly vanish. Water would begin migrating toward the poles. Some regions near the equator could lose vast stretches of ocean. Meanwhile, new oceans would gradually expand across higher latitudes. Coastlines that have existed for thousands of years would be redrawn. Entire ecosystems would disappear. New landscapes would emerge, and maps humanity has trusted for centuries would no longer describe the world. Earth would still be alive, but it would no longer be the planet we recognize.
By now, Earth has become almost unrecognizable. The skies are violent. The oceans are reshaping the continents. Entire cities have disappeared. But one question still remains. Could anyone survive? The answer is more complicated than you might expect. If Earth stopped rotating instantly, billions of people on the surface would face catastrophic conditions within minutes. Yet throughout history, humanity has survived environments once thought impossible. We have built cities in scorching deserts, research stations in Antarctica, and communities in some of the harshest places on Earth. Some underground shelters, deep cave systems, or heavily reinforced structures might offer temporary protection from the initial devastation. But surviving those first hours would only be the beginning. Without Earth's normal rotation, the familiar cycle of day and night would disappear. One side of the planet would remain beneath constant sunlight. The other would sink into endless darkness. Over time, temperatures would become increasingly extreme. The sunlit hemisphere could grow unbearably hot, while the dark side would become colder with every passing day. Agriculture would collapse. Fresh water would become increasingly difficult to obtain. Global supply chains would cease to exist. The challenge would no longer be escaping the disaster. It would be rebuilding civilization on a planet that no longer behaves like the one we evolved to live on. Humanity might survive, but the world that shaped our history would be gone forever. Eventually, the violence begins to fade. The roaring winds grow quieter. The oceans settle into new coastlines, and Earth enters a completely different chapter of its history. Without its daily rotation, our planet no longer experiences the familiar rhythm of sunrise and sunset. Instead, one hemisphere remains beneath constant sunlight. The other stays locked in endless darkness. Life as we know it struggles to survive these extremes. Across the sunlit side, vast deserts begin to spread. On the dark side, ice sheets, kilometers thick, slowly cover entire continents. But between these two worlds, there may still be hope, a narrow region where temperatures remain moderate enough for life. Scientists sometimes call this the twilight zone, a thin band between endless day and endless night. If humanity endured, this is where future civilizations might choose to live. Cities would be built for a different planet. Energy, food, and water would come from systems unlike anything we depend on today. Future generations might grow up never witnessing a sunrise or a sunset. Many might never realize their planet was once so different. To them, our world would sound like an impossible story, a planet where every day lasted just 24 hours, where oceans covered familiar coastlines, where the sky followed a rhythm so ordinary that almost no one ever questioned it. Earth would still exist, but it would be a completely different home. For more than 4.5 billion years, Earth has never stopped turning. Every sunrise you've ever witnessed,
Every sunset, every changing season, every moment of your life has unfolded because our planet has kept spinning. It's easy to take that motion for granted. After all, we've never felt it, we've never heard it, we've never had to think about it. Yet, every second, it quietly shapes the world around us. The rhythm of our days, the movement of our atmosphere, the balance of our oceans, the climate that allows forests to grow, rivers to flow, and life to thrive. If that invisible motion disappeared, our world would become almost unrecognizable. Not because Earth ceased to exist, but because the delicate balance that makes this planet feel like home would be broken. Fortunately, this is only a thought experiment. Earth is not expected to suddenly stop rotating. The forces required to make that happen are far beyond anything nature is likely to produce. But asking impossible questions often helps us appreciate the ordinary things we overlook every day. Sometimes, the greatest wonders aren't hidden deep in space. They're quietly happening beneath our feet. Right now, Earth is spinning, just as it has for billions of years. And because of that silent motion, every sunrise, every tomorrow, and every new beginning is possible. But Earth's rotation isn't the only invisible force protecting life. Surrounding our planet is an unseen shield that deflects deadly radiation from the sun. Without it, life on Earth might never have existed. We'll explore that next time.